name's Peter Gibson. I'm the head of the Solutions Centre here for FNZ in Wellington. So I'm currently living in Wellington at the moment. As I was just mentioning before, I've actually come back to Wellington after sort of 18 years away overseas and joined FNZ. So I'll talk to you a wee bit about what we do and who we are. So yeah, Peter Gibson, head of the Solutions Centre Wellington for FNZ. I've got our website there and our email address that you can reach us there. I'll show you this at the end of the presentation as well. FNZ as a company, we were founded in Wellington back in 2004. So quite a while ago now for a bit of a startup company back then. But since that time, we have expanded all around the globe. So I'll take you through a wee bit about our journey and a wee bit about what we do. So what do we do and why are we here? So our primary role is to help people achieve their financial goals. So FNZ as a company, we have about 1,500 staff. I say about because we are going through lots of acquisitions at the moment, and that number could effectively double in a very, very short period of time. So what we do is we partner with big major financial institutions. And when I describe those, I'm talking about companies like a bank, examples being ANZ and BNZ as well. It might be an insurance company, it might be an asset management firm. So big organizations that we partner with to enable them to work with their customers through different channels, and I'll talk what those look like in a moment, to help service their clients to build their financial goals and their financial wealth. And they do that through different channels, whether those are direct, that means a company may want to go out and reach out to clients and customers like you and I, to be able to trade equities on the market. It might be through intermediated, which means by going to your financial advisor. So maybe you don't have an idea around what you want to do for your retirement or how you want to invest. And sometimes you'll go to a financial advisor and they will use a platform and a technology like that we make to help them to make those decisions, help you to invest as well. And then other times through things like workplace channels. And workplace could be through pension schemes that may be set up for you when you join an organization. It might be things like a KiwiSaver product where you want to go when you're working and your money has been invested on your behalf as part of your work that you do. That money is then invested into vehicles like financial products to help you to realize your financial goals. So that's what we do. So FNZ, we partner with the financial institutions to ultimately get to the clients to help them to manage their wealth overall. Okay. This is pretty much that in a diagram form. So as you can see, this is you and I. We're customers at the other end here. And right down at the other side here, we've got what we call our financial products, our manufacturers. This is things like the stock exchange with the equities. It might be managed funds or fixed interest or term deposits. Whatever vehicles those are and instruments are, we want to get those in a structured way through to you as a consumer at the other end. And sometimes they might be an aspect of you just buying a managed fund. It might be you buying an equity, like Spark shares as an example. But sometimes it might be actually buying a portfolio of assets, not just one thing, but a composite based around your sort of risk appetite. You might feel like you're an aggressive investor, and therefore we need to be able to package all that together. So this is the financial products on one side, this is the customers on the other side, and we need to get this all through and manage both money and the transfer of assets as well throughout the process. So in the middle here, this is FNZ. Okay, so we have our IT infrastructure and everything we need to do to make these platforms work. These are big, complicated applications. We have this software that we build. So this is where we spend our analysts and developers and testers are working to build out the platform. We also then have aspects of our business which are managing the getting this to the market, actually the operational process of that, the trading these to the market. You wouldn't believe sometimes, that some of these customers who are managing products over here, we have to talk to via sometimes a blockchain. Sometimes it might be through a Swift messaging service. Other times it's actually through the old school fax, because the fund manager is sitting in Luxembourg and all they do is they have a fax machine and that's all they talk with. So we have ways of getting through electronically all the way through to these providers to remove all this friction in the market so that it is a straight through automated process as much as possible. So this is us here, what we call a platform as a service. We don't just build technology. We do that very, very well, but it's only a part of what we do. So we build the tech, we run the platforms as well. We are the custodian of the assets. What that means is that we are the people who are regulated to stand in front of the regulators to make sure that all of the things like money laundering and the good keeping of the assets and the cash is all taken care of. So we build, we run, we're the custodian of the assets, and we also stand up all the infrastructure, whether that is on-prem servers or cloud-based services and things as well. So that's what we do here. As we mentioned before, we're talking to these financial service providers. That might be a financial advisor. It might be someone who wants to go direct to the market. It might be going through an asset management firm or a high net worth individual, sort of brokerage firm. And they then have those different channels we talked about before through the advisory and intermediary, the workplace, or the digital direct. Okay, so that's what we do as a business. Just a wee bit, just so because some people do ask around our technology things here. What are we trying to do? So we have. Let's bring all these up. We're a big platform that's been around since 2004, so we do have some legacy parts there, but we're always having to move our code base, our application base, our infrastructure all the way through. So we typically are sitting as a .NET type of factory in all of our coding, running C+ and things. So that's and we're running most of our websites on sort of a React front end. So from a tech point of view, if you're looking at the technology side, these are the applications that we're using. SQL Server databases, and then on the infrastructure side, while we've got Microsoft services and things, web services at the moment, we are moving a lot of stuff more into the public and private cloud solutions as well. So a lot of the infrastructure actually comes about from a lot of our different customers in different locations have different data privacy rules. Some of our customers are, for example, in Singapore, all the data has to and can only reside in Singapore. But we can also use Singapore as a hub to support our operations in places like Thailand and Indonesia and Malaysia, where we can use their data and house it inside Singapore. So depending on the location, depending on the requirements of our customers, and depending on the regulators in those countries, we will have different solutions around databases and infrastructure to support that as well. Okay. So here's a wee bit of a snippet of who our partners are. And as you can see, there's some big names. Let's take New Zealand. ANZ and BNZ are both of our customers. So if you were to go into the bank and you wanted to work with an advisor in the bank and they wanted to help you to start saving for your retirement, or you want to start investing, and the market's been very volatile recently, but people have been doing a lot of investing. So you would be using, ANZ and BNZ use our technology to do all that, and we help them to run those businesses. So we started our life here in New Zealand, and we've been building out this over time. We've also now, our first customer after New Zealand we got was this company called Standard Life, one of the largest insurance companies in the UK. And that most of our initial founders went over there and set that part of the business up. And now we actually dominate the UK market. We have just about 4 of the 5 high street banks use our technology. We are in a situation now where the regulator there has us as a high availability. We're not allowed to be down because we are underpinning a lot of these, banks and things there from all their trading. So we're an important company in the scheme of the regulators in the UK as well. So we've been very, very successful in the UK, mainly because we've automated what was previously unautomated, and we've also gone and reduced the fees as in doing so. So put more money into the hands of the customers at the end. It's their retirement. We want to make sure that they keep much more of that instead of other people taking fees from them. We've done a big expansion into Europe now, so the Nordics are becoming a very big pace for us, up into Sweden and Finland are very, very big at the moment. We've now started going into Germany. We've just purchased a bank in Germany, and so I think last year we spent nearly $1 billion on acquisitions and things there. So we are an aggressive company at the moment. We're actually strengthening our position. And we also started moving down into South Africa late last year as well. Asia, also been very busy for us. It's been a big expansion based mainly out of Singapore and then going further afield. I actually used to work for Aviva, and so I got to know about FNZ when I was one of their customers. And when I came back to New Zealand, I had the privilege of joining FNZ and swapping to the other side. So I've been lucky enough to see the way that FNZ works from the other side as well. So I used to be the Chief Operating Officer for the Aviva business, the wealth business in Singapore. So I worked very, very closely with the FNZ team. I was impressed with them. And when I came home, decided to come and join them. So been really lucky. So as you can see, it's a nice group of and quite a nice set of icons and things there. One thing you don't see is North America or South America. We are actively looking at America at the moment, and I'm hoping that we'll have something there by the end of the year. But it's always just a volatile market at the moment. But it's the next big step for us as well down the train. Here's a bit of a global of where we are, and it just gives a bit of perspective on sort of what we do. So here's New Zealand down the bottom here. This group here is me, this 21 staff here. This is my team of analysts, developers, testers, delivery managers, sort of project management area here. So this is my team here. I'm also joined by our operations staff as well, so the people who are running the platforms for typically our customers in this region. Plus we have our data centers as well. So this is New Zealand. We then have some satellite areas over in Australia, Melbourne and Sydney, and I have some of my team also in the Melbourne office and some in Sydney. Typically, we have our sales staff in locations like this here, but we have our main solution centers, one here in Wellington, as I said, Shanghai, and also Brno in the Czech Republic. So this is the other area that we have. And this is where we move our developers, analysts and testers around the group and things as well. So we're continuously moving talent around. As you see over here, we've got a big expansion here. The Nordics is getting very, very big for us, moving down into Germany, Italy, Spain, and down just recently into South Africa as well. Okay, but the UK, we dominate that market very well. And we've got a big operations centre up in Edinburgh, and now our head office is over in Edinburgh as well. So that's where we're going, and we'll be adding more countries to the list as we expand out. So us being part of our company, how are we made up? We're a private company. We sit behind the scenes. Not many people have heard of us at all. We moved into a brand new office in September last year, so not that long ago. Just off, it's on Brandon Street, just off from Lambton Quay, near where Whitcoulls is. If you come up to Wellington, you'll go onto Lambton Quay, where it's right downtown. So it's a big, beautiful building. It's all just for us. It's all got the best tech inside it. It's a really, really beautiful space as well. So that's where our employees are. So we're a private company. We're actually owned by 500 of the staff, and they own 30% of the company. We have, as I mentioned before, about 1,500 staff. From there, we are, by the end of the year, we're hoping to have all of our staff as equity holders in the company. And as new people come on board, you'll get access to that as part of performance. So you perform well, we pay people very well for their role. So we have a very, very good starting salary for our roles. But we also going to encourage people to get access to equity in the company based on their performance and their contribution to the company. So that's the first part of our business. The second part is actually owned by two big private equity, or one private equity firm and one big pension fund. So this is the Canadian Pension Fund. They have a really long-term outlook, and they saw us and we partnered up with them. We were looking for someone when we switched ownership. It was about 2 years ago now. We were looking for someone who had a long-term outlook, and we found the Canadian Pension Fund. And they joined in with a company called Generation. Generation, very interesting company, asset management group from the United States. Their founder is a guy called Al Gore. Some of you may know Al Gore. He used to run for president of the United States. He was unsuccessful, but he gave it a good crack. He is very big, heavily into the environmental movement and sustainability, and that's where we played into that area as well. You know, we're building solutions around how to help you and I as consumers to get into sustainable investing, make sure that your money is targeted into areas that you want to choose, not where the asset manager wants to choose as well. You know, you want to make sure that your hard-earned money is put into a global, you know, sustainability fund or the right type of investments and not the wrong type of investments. So, you know, they are really, really good partners of ours, and it's been great having them on board for the last couple of years as well. So yeah, it's a growing company. We've got a nice structure in place now. We've got some good shareholders in the company, and we want to have everyone as part of the company sort of be part of that as well going forward. The benefits of coming and joining our company, you know, as mentioned, we are growing really fast. We've got a great, beautiful, nice environment in our office. It would be great to get back there, but we are, as a company and as a group, been working really, really efficiently from home as well. You know, that part of, you know, if you're coming down to here, this working, encourage flexible working. One of the things that our customers have been really impressed with us over this crisis we've sort of gone through is that our resilience as a company, we haven't missed a beat. We've been all of our solutions, all of our platforms we've been working very, very well at high speed under quite stressful times, because there's been a lot of traffic that's going on through, and because we are an important business in the financial services area, we've been working full time during this period as well. So the team have been great, but you know, it'd be great to get back into our office at some point in time. But what we're going to be doing is allowing our staff to choose where they want to work in the future, whether that is in the office, at home, or a composite of that as well. As mentioned, successful company, we're growing into new markets. We've got some great career opportunities. Because we're not just a technology firm, we've got lots of other things around operations, around, you know, infrastructure, sales and things as well. You know, there's a lot of opportunities to expand your career within FNZ and moving between departments. And that could be not just here, but overseas. We're really, really good. If we talked about career, we have a really good training piece for all of our graduates who come in. I typically see within about 6 months, people have got enough knowledge around what FNZ does, how our solutions work, the technology, to put their hand up to say, I'd like to go overseas. And we do send people as and when we can. So it's a bit more restricted at the moment just because of the nature of travel and people not wanting to move overseas at the moment. But you know, prior to the lockdown, we were sending people on a regular basis, lots up into Munich and up into Helsinki, and then some people over into Cape Town as well. So that's where our new moves have been coming on there. Just to give a bit of insight, our founder, Adrian, and is still our group CEO, he is a Kiwi. He loves the talent that we find here in New Zealand through our recruitment program like we're talking about today. Through our training, and once we've got our new starters on board, he is really, really happy for us to send those staff overseas if that's what they want to do. So as an opportunity for you to grow your career both here in New Zealand and also overseas, you know, FNZ provides a really, really good framework for that as well. We also have a lot of other benefits. Once we as is mentioned, we try and pay you well. We give you equity in the company if that's what you need to earn. But we also have full private health insurance with Southern Cross. That's the best plan there, and you can extend that to your families as well. Good life insurance as well. We have lots of wellness activities. We have a culture club where everyone gets involved in lots of activities around the office and outside the office as well, with sports teams. We have a good diversity and inclusion group. So we speak about 31 languages in the office, in Wellington office alone. So there's a lot of mixed cultures there, lots of stuff to learn. We try and celebrate as much of that as possible during that time as well. So what are we looking for? We're looking for you. And I'm just going to sort of talk about two sort of job families at the moment. This is in my area that I'm presenting today. Those are what we call the analyst tester role and then the analyst developer role. Sort of two families in there. The analyst tester, who are they? It's typically the person who is sitting down and coming up with either the business or the functional solution. So we have a core platform which does a lot of stuff and has been built over the years. But the different customers we deal with, let's say we went to see, we had on BNZ and ANZ. Let's try Westpac as another example. If they wanted to become a customer, our analyst testers would be sitting down with our internal solution consultants and working with the customer around how was their business different to what we want to do already. What kind of new features do they want? How do they want to run the business? What kind of workflow do they want? And we need to build out new solutions or new integration points there. So the analyst testers are sitting down and coming up with that design, conceptualizing the ideas, and ultimately owning the solution end to end. So they were the people that will, once it's built, will be testing it to make sure it's doing exactly what the customer expects it to do. So a lot of the design, a lot of the build, the process flow around that. What does the new UI look like? It's coming up with some resolution high wireframes to conceptualize the process. They then work with this analyst developer group. These people here are the actual people doing the technical architecture, the technical design, and the actual technical build. So they will be creating, really nice website front ends, whether it's onto mobile technology if required through an app, or just a really polished website for both the client or the advisor or a management team internally to use as well. These people work collectively in an agile team. So something like, say, 2 developers working with an analyst, is that sort of ratio-ish to build the solution out, working iteratively, building, testing, show and tells with the internal stakeholders first, and then with the client, progressively building out a feature until we've got a new robo-advisory tool, as an example. Okay, so that's the two sort of roles we're hiring. People can move between these if you want to pick up skill sets. As you can see, the word analyst is in both these here. I want our people to be thinkers, okay? I don't want a person to come in and just be a coder and sit there and just do what other people tell them to do. I want everyone to be a contributor to the process of getting these solutions built for our customers. Who are the people we're hiring? They are not software engineers only. We love having people who've done, computer science or software engineering, but we're also looking for people with mathematics and physics and engineering and health sciences and you name it. I'm agnostic to your qualifications. I am looking for talent only, and we've got a good way of finding those talents amongst people. I can teach you, and my team can teach you everything you need to know about FNZ, everything you need to know about our technology, if that's an area that you need to get in as well. And we have the tools to get people up to speed. As an example, last year I employed someone who was a astrophysicist. He just finished his PhD in astrophysics. He's now a developer. He's actually leading a team after his first year of developing one of our front-end React website solutions. I employed another guy who was 5 years a house surgeon at Wellington Hospital. He went down to Otago and he trained with you guys down there. He did his medical degree, but his passion was always software engineering. So he went and taught himself at night school, He came and applied for a job, and we've taken him on board as now. He's doing an absolutely amazing job. Obviously a smart guy, but he's doing a fantastic job and getting up to speed. So, I'm just looking for talent. I'm not looking for people prescribed in one area. So everyone who wants to have a crack at applying for a role with us, we will definitely look at this well-rounded group of people. Okay. Our website. You can go to our website, fnz.co.nz, gets you straight to the sort of New Zealand version of that. This is the email address you can reach out to us. It's adminrecruiter@fnz.co.nz. And just go through the website. At the moment, I don't have any vacancies at the moment for Wellington, but there's lots of other global vacancies and stuff here. We've got some more coming out very soon. Our HR team are working on updating and putting some more roles available for us here. But we will be employing a lot of graduates this year. I brought on about 35 grads last year. They came on typically in two tranches, middle of the year, once people were finishing off their mid-year sort of careers, and then also towards the end of the year. It's been a bit of a challenge now going through what we call our assessment process. Typically what happens there is I would normally go through and get a whole series of CVs from you. We would filter through and then bring people into Wellington, where we would have an assessment centre for maybe 4 or 5 hours, where we would talk to people and get them to understand what we are as a company, and just run a few tests on people, and a wee bit more in depth around what we do. And then we sort of select people from that. But when I'm looking to hire people, I'm looking to hire now for maybe end of the year as well. So it gives you some understanding around what your career is going to look like for this year. If you offer you a job now so that you can sit back and finish your career very, very well, finish off your studies before you maybe start up at the end of the year or midway through the year as well. But we're always employing people, but there is typically once, you've still got to finish your studies first before you want to come across. As I mentioned before, we've got a couple of roles. So we're looking for graduates, but we also do have internships. I know people are interested in that as well. We typically look at that process around about August, September, where we start advertising those roles. We use the Summer of Tech as part of that process sometimes, but also directly as well. It's normally in the sort of the analyst developer roles. Maybe we bring a team of 5 or 6 people in, and they'll work as a collective group with some of our seniors to actually work on something tangible that they can go back to university the next year to finish off their studies, and actually be able to show something to their supervisor. This is what I did. This is something they can put on their CV as well. Those internship roles do translate into full-time or part-time work while the people are at study. So we've had people come in over the summer, do 2 or 3 months with us, then go back to uni and just maybe do 10 hours a week. So they're getting an income coming in, as well as keeping in touch with us as well. And then those then turn into full-time jobs at the end of that as well. So those are really, really nice positions. They're always under high demand, but that's something that we typically do as well. So that is my presentation for today. Happy to take some questions. Let's see if I can get to.
Has anyone got any questions that they'd like to ask Peter?
Hopefully I've covered everything in the slides then, maybe.
Bill.
Thanks for your section.
Yes.
I have a question. Even your company encourage remote, the graduate job still based in Wellington, right? Not Auckland or somewhere else in New Zealand?
Yeah, that's correct. So I have some people in Hawke's Bay and Dunedin. I've got a guy in Dunedin. One of my senior analysts is actually in Dunedin, but he's been with us for a period of time. So people go back remotely, typically when they feel that they've got enough skill sets to do their job effectively. We don't have a centre in Auckland or Dunedin or anywhere else. It's really for people. They come to Wellington, they work with the team here. You get up to speed, and then people can work from home wherever they are. So, hey, we're going into a new world right now, and it is different when everyone is trying to adjust what that looks like. But to give you the best success, is working quite closely with our senior people that we have around here and forming that community as well. We hired some people in December and January and February who've obviously only been with us about a month before we went into lockdown for some of them. And it's going to be interesting to see their feedback around how effective we have been at training people in a remote environment. Our teams have been very well connected. The performance of my team has actually been outstanding. You know, their ability to get stuff done they've been more effective from home than they were actually in the office, which has been really interesting for us to see. So we are encouraging that, but you know, if you wanted to come and join FNZ, we would want you to be here up in Wellington. That's when we get back into the office. Hey, I don't know what it's going to look like in the future. It might be something that we really do support people, you know, staying in Dunedin or in Auckland, or where you might find home, and that becomes the best environment if we can make that work. Some of our people who typically are in more remote locations, what we ask them is to come into the office once a quarter, come to Wellington, get engaged with the team, make sure you're a face and a person we know, and you get to be part of that environment. So that's also important, as opposed to just being another person on the screen. We want to physically know who you are. So let's see how this plays out over the next 3 to 6 months. But we're very, very flexible to how we're going to look in the future. But good question, thank you.
Great. Yunji, have you got a question?
Yes, I'm just interested to know, because it's mainly for the financial products, right? So
Yes.
I assume probably need candidates or the staff needs certain level of the financial knowledge, something like that, or no?
No, not at all. No, so you don't need to know. You know, we can teach you everything about that. It's really just around a willing. So I always think about, you know, you've gone to university to learn. You've chosen a career at the moment. What's your degree that you're doing at the moment?
Actually, I had different background, and I had undergraduate. I have computer science and accounting. And I worked for quite many years and auditing in the accounting firm.
Cool.
So
you know you will work out what we do very, very, very quickly, right? Anyone who goes into university study, you are obviously very intelligent and smart people, and you've chosen to learn certain aspects of your studies at university. You're going to not stop learning when you come and join a company like FNZ. You're just going to learn something a bit different. You're going to learn how we work, as well as you'll learn all about the financial products. You don't need to know how an equity works. You just need to know that we want to take an equity, want to buy something, and we want to give it to the customer. And we work out the framework of how we get through all the different layers of the integrations into the market to ultimately trade that. You want to spend $1,000. You want to buy some Air New Zealand shares. We need to find a way of getting that through to market and a messaging system to come all the way back. You don't need to know about Air New Zealand shares. You just need to be able to know how we can build the solutions to get us to trade all the way through there as well. So we teach you all that.
Oh, it's not about like you have to find out how the banking system running and how do they like calculate those kind of interest. It's not about that, right? Because I was dealing with that before. It's kind of really.
There's some parts of that. No, we might have an analyst, so we might go into a new jurisdiction, and we need to understand. Let's say we haven't been into Taiwan yet. If we want to go to Taiwan, we have to learn. New jurisdictions are always difficult because we've got to learn about their banking system. We've got to learn about how their regulations work, what their new tax regime is. And we have to change our application to say we need to add in some new tax components, a new different way of, there might be different tiering structures. We need to think of all those things. So going into new jurisdictions, what we will do there is we will typically get some of our best stars from around the FNZ group who've been with us for a long time, and they will form a group of party that we will put together a composite team to go into new jurisdiction to help us to understand how we go and work in that area. But once we get to there, once we built up that knowledge, then it becomes easier. The next customer for us becomes easier and easier. But new jurisdictions are always difficult because there's so much to learn, right? Once we go into the United States, we're going to have to learn all about the way the tax regimes work in the United States, all their anti-money laundering rules, all the ways that they want to have cybersecurity handled. We learn all that stuff as part of our journey.
Oh, may I understand our company's role is just being like the middle person who just get all the financial products from the financial institution like bank and some insurance company, and then we provide a very fair platform for the end customer to buy from our platform, to give them assurance, to say, okay, so it's very, very safe because we are the person in the middle, in the neutral position.
So in the day where we need to provide we've got a lot of customer data. We have a lot of financial data. We need to secure that very well. So our role is to making sure that the technology we use is very secure, protected, all the things that the security principles are put in place. We also need to be in the situation where sometimes you will never see our name. FNZ's name, if you might go to a website, and if our name is not there, that's okay. We are there to make our customers look great. And we are there to be the people who do all of the stuff behind the scenes to keep things moving. And that's what we do, is if the experience is great to their customers, we've done our job really, really well. If it's secure, if the data is protected, the trades are done in a timely manner, and people get their balances and they can run their reports and they can do what they want, and hopefully their asset, their value of their wealth goes up. So if they're working with their financial advisor, they're buying the right tools, then that's great. So sometimes it's the other thing we may do sometimes is we don't actually necessarily build the website. We just open up our API framework to another company so they can build their own website and front-end solutions. And we just manage all of the back-end plumbing and the trading aspects behind that. We've just done that recently for a company in Australia called Vanguard. Now, Vanguard is the second largest asset management firm in the world. And we just built a website with them in Australia. We have them as a customer already in the UK. And they built their website completely themselves. So they did all the front end, really nicely designed, really, really simple but easy. They are going directly to customers to look after. And we just expose our entire API layer to them. We built all the technology behind the scenes to keep that website going, but the front-end design is all theirs.
So, okay. Which means like we have our platform should apply some of the data security rules.
Always, yeah. We remember we are regulated. We can't allow things to go wrong. If this was your money, you would want your data protected. You are a customer, like I'm a customer. We want to make sure it's secure, it's timely, and that it's accurate all the time.
I got you. It's kind of like a third-party regulation. You need to have that.
Everywhere, yeah. So with amongst our team, so while I've got the technology, the people doing a lot of the build, we have a big compliance team, a risk team, info security team. We're a big company now. We've got a lot of process in place, and the regulators have a lot of oversight on us to make sure we're protecting all this customer data very, very well.
Yeah, okay, I understand. Thank you.
Good. Excellent questions. Thank you.
Yeah, just because I tried to put my position when I was auditor before, you know.
You could come and be our auditor if you wanted to as well.
Auditor is person, you know, to put a
Yes. Yeah, and like every company, financial, we are audited as well as part of that process as well. So the auditors look after, they will come in, and PwC will come in, or EY come and look at us too. Okay.
Yeah, that well I was working for before.
There we go. So you'll know exactly what we do then. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
Magdalene, have you got a question?
I do. Thank you, Peter, for your presentation. I'm Magdalene, and I'm in my penultimate year of computer science and entrepreneurship.
Cool.
And just wondering what your non-technical roles are, like product management, consultancy.
Yeah, so we have a few. So we're going to have, we talked about the analyst tester role. That's less technical. You're not doing coding. So it's more of the business. The old term we probably describe it as business analyst. So that's the business analyst role. What we've put around that role is the aspect of testing as well. You know, testing for me, I started my life as a tester when I joined financial services. It's the way you learn how the application works. So, you know, any one of our people who come into the analyst test role always learn testing first, because that's your way of learning how the application works. I'm not going to allow you to change it until you know how it works. Then you can come and change it after that. Then you can teach other people how you want it to be changed. Okay, so the analyst tester role is the less technical aspect of it. We do have that role then expands out into what we call a solution consultant. That is one where you start becoming an owner of an area. You might become as a solution consultant for a particular customer, and you are really that interface with them. You can talk and breathe everything around FNZ. You can answer questions around, I know who to talk to. This is the solution we have. This is where the tech is. So the analyst tester role goes more into the solution consultancy. The other part we then have is around the running of our business, the operational aspects of our business. We need people to trade to the markets as well. We need people to run things around the corporate action process, like people would get a dividend on an investment. We need to be able to process that effectively as well. We need to reconcile every unit. You know, we have a bookkeeping around, you know, the number total. We might have 1 million units on our platform for a particular thing, like say Spark shares. That has to be reconciled against what's happening in the market as well. So there's those aspects around reconciliations, around operational process, and around, you know, design and development around the analyst tester role. So that's sort of the non-technical. And then we have all of our other services like HR and risk compliance and you name it.
Okay. And what's the career progression like for the analyst developer role?
So we will start off as a graduate analyst developer, moving through usually in about 6 months. You would have finished most of the induction, knowing your way around. You would have been developing, or you develop from day one. You know, whether that is first day fixing a bug, learning how to fix stuff up. It might be writing some test automation to get that so we can streamline it through. Then you'll start doing initial development. You might start learning a functional area initially. It might be to do account opening. So how do we open an account? Building out something right there. Then you start learning more and more functional areas. And then within 6 months, you feel reasonably independent. You know, you're off doing your own thing pretty comfortably. Then you go through into more senior roles. There are then roles around looking after teams. So you might have a team of, we typically around about 7 or 8 people in a team. So you might be a lead developer. We then have what we call our technical leads. So a tech lead might be someone who looks into new tools, someone who's looking into security principles, someone who's looking into our API framework. So technical leads, people leads, and the senior positions within the company as well. and then you might become specialists in certain areas. You might become the developer specialist for integrations. And you then move between projects to do the integration piece for different implementations that we do as well. Okay.
Right. Okay. And for the internships, are the roles also analyst tester and analyst developer?
Mainly for the analyst developer, it's mainly because we can give you something tangibly to work on. The analyst tester one is something that we typically have for people when they come in as a graduate role, where we feed into that position going forward. But we find what we have found is the developer role is easier to manage over the internship when a lot of my team are maybe going on holiday, so there's people coming and going. And we can give you guys a really good set project to work on to execute during that 2 to 3 month period as well. Okay.
When you mentioned that this internship could continue on.
Yes, very much so.
Year? Okay.
Yeah, so of the 4 people we had last year, they came in, one of them is still with us until mid-year, then he's going to Munich to do his studies over there, and 2 others have decided to stay on and do part-time. They're doing anywhere between 10 and 15 hours a week of development time as well. And so they're just we're paying them, and they are both great candidates, and we will probably love to have them at the end of their studies. We do sabbaticals as well, so they might come on and that's actually starting to get a bit busy for study. I want to concentrate for the next 2 months on my studies and exams. We'll just put them on a sabbatical and pick you guys up again at the end of that time as well.
Yeah. And are they doing those internships remotely?
Yes, yeah. So the 2 people we've got at the moment, they're both from Auckland Uni. They're doing a remote. We're all remote at the moment, aren't we? So, and they were going to be remote anyway. So they went back to uni and stayed in there. And they're doing a great job. So they've been really it's been great having them on this year. And we've got 2 developers from the previous year's intake still at university this year. Okay. Right. Yes.
So basically, the service is say it's like a full cycle. It's like a system implementation full cycle from the user requirements and then solution and then design and then I mean like testing or maybe implementation.
Yeah, well, see, our goal here is to make sure that we have a great product for a customer. Sometimes that is just turning on our current application, and we just don't, because our big customers have different propositions, and sometimes they have a lot of data privacy aspects. We have to keep some of our applications very, very separate. So we might have a standalone application for each of different customers. Whereas in New Zealand, the framework we run here is we run all of our different customers on the same one application. So if I want to turn on a new customer, it becomes very quick for us to do. Whereas in other countries, it might take us 18 months or 2 years to build out a brand new application for someone. These are big processes. Now, we've just gone through a build of a customer in the UK, which is about probably $200 billion of assets under management. And it's a massive migration of clients from their old system onto our brand new system as well. So while we've got to do the build, we've also got to move all the customer data, all the historical, all of the assets across, and do it in a very, very quick window over the weekend so that they can be trading on the Friday, close it off, move everything across from a different customer altogether. And we have to practice and practice and practice. That we're the only company in the UK who's actually been able to do this. We've done it lots of times now, but a lot of our competitors have failed to do that. That's why they always come back to us to do this. But it's a very, very big job to then move big assets across into a new big platform that we do. So asset migrations are something we also do as part of that build. But, you have to have these platforms sometimes a wee bit standalone.
So you also do the parallel run?
Yes. Yeah.
For a while, then to be sure everything.
There's always different rollout strategies you'll have for a company. You might be a soft launch with their customers, friends and family initially. You might then do a small group of investors across first, and then you might do the full big migration after that. Just depends on the needs and wants of our different customers that works for them.
So after migration, do we still custody or manage their system, or no?
Yes.
We
Yeah.
just leave it to them, or we still...
No, we're a platform. We are not a tech. We're not just a technology company. That's not our problem. If we wanted to be a tech company, we'd be like everyone else. Our customers don't come to us just for our technology. They come to us for all the service that what we call a platform as a service. We are the tech, the operations, the custody, the infrastructure.
Just like a long-term like a service.
Yeah, we can, and we run contact centers for them as well, right? So we can do everything around there to take all of these pain points away from them and allow them to get on with looking after their customer. Okay.
So do we need to go to the client all the time, or just like these we have to work with them, like understand their requirements, or some of the,
Sometimes sometimes we know what we can tell them. Sometimes we can go through and say, this is our advice. This is what we've seen in the market. This is what I might go to a customer here in New Zealand and say, well, guess what we've seen overseas. We've built this brand new robo-advisory tool over there, or this analytical application of data mining and data science, and we want to bring this to you. And they go, wow, I've never seen that before. That's fantastic. And we will give that to them as part of our service.
Yeah.
But we might need to play with it a wee bit to make it flavored for New Zealand.
So I mean, like we don't really need to do a lot of physical traveling to the clients, something like that.
Oh, it depends. No, not working. My team, I travel a wee bit, but not that much. Our frontline developer, frontline solution consultants, that's their role. Our salespeople, that's their role. Most of my staff don't go and sit in front of clients, but my analyst testers will over time, or at least on the call with the clients. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Right.
Great. Excellent. Thanks, Peter, very much. That's very informative. And
good. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully it was enough information for you, not too much, but hopefully, the last thing I'd like to say is thank you for joining us today. Hopefully, wish you all the best for your rest of your studies for the rest of the year. I know you're going to kick it out of the park and have a great fun time. Dunedin is, as I said before, it's where I did my study, so it's a fun place to study. And thank you very much for joining the conversation today. If you've got any other information, I'm sure this is recorded, so you can go back and have a look at it later on again as well. Yeah, hopefully I'll see some of your names appear across my desk sometime in the future. But all the best for the rest of the year.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.